Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's the Funnel Doctor. Hope everyone is having a great evening. Got another very special live. We're about to get into these wealth building strategies, talking about international real estate and how you can become an international real estate investor or agent. We got some gems that are about to be shared. Let me see. So, I'm trying to accept it. There we go. Hey, how you doing?
Hey Ryan. Hey everybody.
Hey everybody, this is Aja. Did I say
Yes,
it
yes, that's perfect.
right? All right, great. So thank you so much for jumping on. Hey everyone, we're gonna have a very special conversation tonight, especially for my entrepreneurs. I really want to talk about, of course, as entrepreneurs we make money, but it's like how can we actually protect our wealth? How can we grow our, wealth accumulation? How can we grow our real estate portfolios? And we got the perfect person to talk about that tonight. Investing in real estate from an international perspective. So, of course, first and foremost, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Ryan. I'm really excited to chat about this.
Yeah, of course. So definitely want to jump in. So before we get started, I always definitely just want to ask, introduce yourself, your background, and how you even got to be such an amazing real estate agent internationally, and of course, investor.
Thank you. So I started off in the world of like finance and real estate I was actually a financial writer because I had a blog and I told people like, wow, I paid off all this debt. So that brought me into the world of financial writing. From there, I started investing in like ETFs and stocks and then eventually real estate. And I unfortunately had a divorce in the midst of all this. So I do the basic divorcee thing, right? You reinvent yourself. So I feel like a lot of, yes, I'm a basic divorcee. You reinvent yourself and you get your real estate license, you do something different. So I recently moved to Florida, got licensed to do real.
Yep.
All right, sorry, I have a little timer on my app that I always ignore. Like, you've been too long on Instagram. But anyway, um, so I was licensed in Illinois, and then I got licensed in Florida. And then from Florida, I actually connected with a group. You were there with us as well, and Dominican, and I became certified because there's no licensing requirements in the Dominican, but you can get a certification. I partner with Keller Williams to be able to bring offerings for at least over 30 developments in the Dominican Republic in the Punta Cana area. I am actually coming live from Puerto Rico. I'm here for the summer because I have a property here that I'm renovating. So this was like one of my first international-ish investment because we know Puerto Rico is not technically another country, but it's not a state either. And there are some tax benefits to coming to a place like Puerto Rico. So that's something we'll definitely need to cover. I think that'll be of interest to your, to your entrepreneurship crowd because you always want to get that tax burden down, right? You want to look for low cost of living. You can decrease your burn rate and all that stuff, and like pour back into your business. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and like how I got started investing internationally.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, and I definitely want to talk about that in Puerto Rico and exploring that. But I am curious, going way back, even before I guess you were married or whatever. Like, did you always want to be in real estate? Is it like you just, like you said, fell into it and reinvented yourself to this is what I'm going to do? Or I'm just curious on that.
You know what? I actually this is kind of like my claim to fame. I had no interest in real estate because what do you hear people saying? I don't want to be like answering phone calls in the middle of the night for a clogged toilet. So in my mind, I was an econ major. So in my mind, I was like, I'll do something with business administration. That's what I focused on in college. And I had the opportunity to actually move to the hood on the south side of Chicago. A family member passed away and they left my father a property And he was like, I don't want to move to the hood. And so he asked me and my husband at the time, he was like, do y'all want to move to the hood? And we were like, no. So nobody wanted that because it was literally in the deep hood. Nobody wanted this house. And it really it wouldn't be worth it to sell it at the time. So after some thought, we actually thought about it. We kind of considered it some more. And then we moved into this house, which ended up, and maybe we had this conversation or not, but for people who are listening, they don't know this happened. So we moved to the deep hood of Chicago, to this house, because it was mortgage free. All we had to do was clean it out, fix it up. And we were on our journey of trying to pay off debt. I mean, when I tell you the deep hood, like I have seen people get shot. There were bullet holes in the back door. Like we were really in the hood, you all. But it turned out to be an amazing opportunity. We had a very low cost of living, so it allowed me to do things like focus on my business. My kids were in acting and entertainment. My kids have done voiceover, commercials, Netflix stuff. So it just opened up a great world for us. We were close to the airport, so we traveled. And then it came time where we just felt like we were a little bit like outgrowing the house. We had paid off our debt. We had fixed it up some. So we had this idea to start renting out rooms, like to like college students who would come to the neighborhood and do like volunteer work. And then we were like, oh, this actually makes money. So we started renting out more rooms. And then we were like, well, let's find another property to live in. So we bought another property, and it kind of started from there. But it was, I would say, like I started accidentally because I never had this aspiration. I was like, I'll never touch real estate. I'm fine investing in the stock market. But when I think the first thing I did was like put a room on Airbnb, and like somebody booked it within a few days. And I was like, oh, and this is like in 2017. It's a long, long time ago. And then from there, I was just really looking for other properties to acquire. Some we had to renovate. Some I even rented a property out. So yeah, I've done a bunch of Airbnbs. I've done rehab and renovation, stuff like that. So that's kind of like how I started. And then when I moved, well, I got licensed in Illinois, and then I moved to Florida, and I'm actively using my license in Florida. So yeah, that's kind of like the background of how I got into real estate. And in terms of the international piece, I also majored in Spanish in college as well. So I just always had this like love affair with the Spanish Caribbean. I started coming to Puerto Rico when I was like, I don't know, 19 or 20 years old. And I was like, oh, this is such a dope place. Been to Dominican Republic, Cuba, Panama, and just was always back and forth. So I just feel like it's a great opportunity now, because what are we seeing now in the United States? A lot of just runaway inflation. People who thought they were going to retire, not working out because that, you know, maybe 200,000 or 300,000 you had in your retirement fund, that's not going to buy you a house really in Florida anymore, or like at the quality of life that you want to have, right? You can't, there are properties definitely under 300K in Florida, but some people just really want a retirement, laid back, tropical lifestyle. And that's going to take money in Florida, but it doesn't take as much in Panama, Dominican Republic, or, you know, some of the other places that expats are kind of going to now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. And every time we talk, like, you share so many gems, like, you know what I mean? Like, so much stuff I can pick up. So I hope y'all ready to pick up some gems. I got my pen in my hand, ready to take some notes. Like, seriously, because every time we talk, like, offline and stuff, I'm like, can we do another call? Because it's some other stuff that we still didn't talk about, even though we talked for like an hour already. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So I just want everybody to be aware of, you know, who we talking to. Like I said, because you got a wealth of information I think more people need to know about. So what would you say to someone, like, just starting out? So it's like, yeah, I'm just starting out. I have never done a deal internationally. Kind of where do I start? And to preface that, like, do you think someone should already be investing domestically? Do you think it's okay to start internationally, or kind of like, how do you get yourself ready, or what are the first steps to actually get into international real estate investing?
Okay, this is going to sound very hokey and cheesy, and I'm sorry to say this, guys, sorry. You have to know your why. And
That's true.
I start with that for anything. When someone's like, what do you suggest I do for ... What is the vision for your life? What are you trying to accomplish? So it just kind of depends on your goals. I have some friends who know for a fact they are looking to exit the United States, and they eventually want to relocate. So they may have a slightly different path than someone who's like, you know what, I just like the idea of maybe Like for me, I always wanted to live between Chicago and some tropical climate, right? Maybe later on when my kids are a little bit older, I'll consider total relocation. But for now, I'm good going back and forth doing like the snowbird thing. And then there are people who just want to vacation. They just want to add something to their portfolio that gives them less exposure to like domestic real estate markets. They just want diversity in their portfolio. So it just kind of depends on what you're looking for. So for the person who's like, I already have my sight set on going abroad, which I think is appealing for a lot of entrepreneurs because there are some tax benefits, right? As you move around internationally, for example, in Puerto Rico, if you get residency here, which there's a process to prove that you're a resident, your income tax, no matter what you make, you know, it caps out at 4%. No, there are no brackets, none of that, it's just 4%. And then there are also some benefits to incorporating a business here, and there are lots of like corporate tax exemptions as well. So for the people who are like, you know, I know that I want to go abroad, you can maybe skip having something domestically, although I personally like to have like a little bit of an anchor, because I'm one of those people who thinks about like, okay, when the apocalypse comes, you know, this is what we have to be ready to do. So I'm like, you know, if I need to like get back to the US like really quickly,
Yeah,
I want to be able
right.
to like go somewhere in the US. But of course, will that ever happen? We don't know. I personally, when all this stuff happened, like with COVID, and I saw like how they were restricting travel. I saw how, you know, just a lot of strange things happened. And that was a wake up call for a lot of people. They just wanted to diversify not only like their income and their assets, but also just having different paths, different residencies, because that can give you some mobility, and it can also give you some tax exemptions and tax benefits as a person, and then also as an entity. So that person may be able to skip out on buying real estate domestically. Although it helps to have a little bit of knowledge, I don't think it's necessary. If you're looking to do the snowbird thing, go back and forth, then yes, you're going to need 2 residences, one in the US, one abroad. And then what was the third category? The people who, just want a vacation home. Again, I don't think there's any prerequisites. For example, I'm selling in the Dominican Republic, and properties, you can get things that start at like 50 or, you know, 60, $70,000. And if that's your budget, you can start there. In fact, you can start internationally and then buy something domestically as your international holdings appreciate. So you have a lot of flexibility. And the other part of your question was like, what do you suggest for somebody who like wants to get started? Unfortunately, we're in the internet age. So I usually go to the expat group. So if you go to Facebook, you can put in any country you're interested in. I was going to say Bosnia, but I don't know if that exists anymore. Mexico expats. You just type that in and you're bound to find 4 or 5 different groups. So I go in and I join those groups for different countries that I'm interested in. There's tons for Panama. There's tons for just any country you can think of. And then there are even groups that are very specific, like Black expats in Panama. So if you are some people are concerned when they travel about like the racial climate and like the temperature, you know, what happens around racial issues. Makita says Ghana expat. So, I want to join that one. I'm in so many expat groups, y'all. So groups and start connecting with people. Now, of course, you always want to have like your spidey senses up, right? Because scammers are everywhere. You can't trust everybody just because they're like, I speak English and I've been here 5 years. You want to go in with your eyes open, right? You want to be discerning. You want to connect with, just different people and do your homework and your research. And I think it's also helpful to connect with someone if you can, who's been there for a little bit, and they may be willing to kind of take you around, show you the lay of the land. So those are some suggestions I would start. I always start with those expat groups, and they can be helpful. There's a lot of chatter, a lot of noise, but sometimes if you're looking for a place to stay, I would also suggest that you visit, if it's possible, you visit where you're looking to invest, although it's not necessary. You all, I am such a cavalier, like real estate investor. I have bought property wow, I hope this is not a dump that I just bought. So I just do stuff like that. And there are people who, they buy some of these condos and these units. They're like, I don't have to see them. I trust. I mean, some of them are pre-construction, so they're like dirt. You're not going to see them. So go into the area would help you to give like a feel of like what the vibe is, the area. But again, it's not always necessary. If you are crazy like me in that regard, you may just be like, no, I already know what I want to do and I'll get there when I get there. So you have that option too. But, if you can visit, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Main thing is just to actually, move on something to get it done. Hey, Makita, how you doing? So shout out to Makita Smith in the comments. She is the reason why we're even on this live and connected. So shout out to the whole Savvy Chicks and Real Estate movement.
Yeah.
Taking real estate global.
Yeah.
So I love that. Now I'm definitely curious specifically on what made you decide to buy in Puerto Rico. Also, I believe you got a really good deal that was impossible to pass up. So I am just curious on, that, why you decided to do that. And I know you talked about a little bit like the tax benefits.
Yeah, so Puerto Rico was just, I don't know, maybe like some type of love affair that I never like finished. I started visiting in my early 20s, but it had been maybe another 15 years before I had gone back. Because I've been there a few times already, maybe 3 or 4 times. And then when I got married, I just didn't make it back. So during the pandemic, actually, I was traveling and I had a friend who is a little crazy like me. She and her boyfriend already had a place here. And I called her like, hey, guess what? I'm in Puerto Rico. She's like, I'll meet you. She gets on the plane and meets me like the next day and shows me around. Like, this is the area where we have our place. I really like it. She's like, if you find something here, you should get it. And I'm like, what? How would that even? Because I don't know how real estate works, right? They don't really use the MLS. You can find things on Realtor.com and Zillow, but it's very disorganized, scattered. I'm really amazed now that everything has closed out and I'm in this place. I know it was a miracle that I found this place and the process went through. But anyway, I happened to be here in 2020 and, through a series of events, put a contract on the house. When I was here at the time, it was during COVID, so I couldn't even get into the house to see it, but the price was so right. I was like, let me just do a contract and I'll come back and, if I have to during the inspection period, come and see it. And I didn't even do that. In my mind, I was like, I'll do the contract and then, you get 10 days inspection. I was like, well, it is what it is, which I do not suggest anyone do that. Unless you got it with the Lord like that, because me and the Lord, we got it like that. So I felt like a peace about it. So yeah, everything worked out. I ended up finding like an agent who worked with me, and agents here don't really like, there's no buyer seller's agent. It's usually the listing agent and they want all the commission. So the fact that I found a buyer's agent, they split the commission, all that stuff was like really divinely ordained. So yeah, I closed on the property at the end of 2020 and I was like, what have I done? This is just really crazy. But I came in, I didn't see the property until I closed. I had to fly in to close on it. It was like New Year's of 2020, like New Year's Eve. That's when I closed. And I was with a friend of mine and we thought we were going, well, she thought we were going to see our other friend, the one who had shown me the place. And then we're getting off the plane and everything. And I'm like packing all this alarm system stuff in the suitcase. And she's looking like, what's going on? Because I never told her what I was doing. Because I was like, because sometimes you don't want to tell people, you don't want to mess stuff up. So we're we get off the airplane and everything, and we're driving in the car, and I'm like, yo, I need to make a stop, like, on the way to see our friend. And she's like, oh, okay. And then we're, like, pulling up, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm closing on the house. She's like, what? So that, we still laugh about that. How's my internet connection? I know my internet gets a little slow here. Are you hearing me okay? Is everything okay?
Yeah, I said it's like slightly choppy, but I can hear you. Good.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, you good. I can hear you though. You good.
Let me see. Let me get my my ring light went out. I knew I was missing a light. Oh dang. Okay. Yeah, my ring light and everything. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, my internet gets a little slow sometimes. Like, so that's the fun part of living overseas. You get to see like how life is. So just FYI, Puerto Rico is pretty much developed, but their power grid is needs a lot of help. The water has gone out, so you have to get like a water cistern. So there's things you have to do, like some redundancy you have to build into your real estate. Um, your property sometimes just depending. And then when the storms come through, I've had it for where even very weak thunderstorms will come through and affect like our power, the water. So that's part of the reason why I'm here, to like fix these things and make sure that I can make the property even more marketable. So
That's great. And can you also explain like the international real estate process? Because that was something that I was not aware of when I first learned it a month ago when we were in DR, about how they don't do mortgages. It ain't no 30-year, it ain't no 15-year fixed mortgage and stuff like that. But you know how I guess like you put a deposit down, 30 days later you give a percentage. Then when they're going through the development project, you give another percentage, and you have to basically pay it off by the time the development project is done. So can you definitely talk about that a little bit, because that is something I was not aware of.
yeah. And sorry, you guys, again for in advance for the Wi-Fi. Hopefully it'll clear up a little bit here. But anyway, so that you're exactly right. When you're buying property internationally, more than likely you will not be eligible for financing. There are some limited situations where Scotiabank is a big financier of mortgages for like UK, US, and Canadian expats in certain markets. And that may come to, I'm working mainly in the Dominican, so it may come to Dominican, but for by and large, what happens is it follows very much like when you're building a home in the US, where you put a deposit down and then, actually, unlike the US, usually you're not gonna, you would get a loan at closing, but in this process, you don't get a loan. What will happen is you put down your deposit, sometimes it's 10% in 30 days, another 10% in 60 days. And then while construction is happening, you're going to make payment. And then upon delivery, you pay the latter either 40 or 50%, whatever the balance of the purchase price is. So it is an interest-free payment plan. And the nice thing about it is that if you follow the payment plan, you'll end up with a property overseas with no mortgage. You won't owe anyone. And so your rent income that you'll make, I'm speaking about the Dominican now, these are very Airbnb friendly properties. So the money that you'll make is just pure cash flow because you don't have a mortgage. But yeah, so you're making payments as the work goes on, which I like, and just for those who are listening, if you're interested in getting property abroad or even in the U.S., it's works in the U.S., but one of the ways that I just reserved a condo in the DR, and I'm actually partnering with someone. So we have an LLC, we have an operating agreement, and we are putting our money together. So the financial burden is not as great. And so a lot of people are like, well, no, I would never do business with friends and family. And I think it can work if you, number one, choose the right friends and family to do business with. And then you have the proper legal things in place to make sure that there's recourse. There are ways to dissolve disagreements, or not resolve disagreements, right? There are ways to deal with any kind of conflict that can come up. If you're borrowing from a friend or family, use promissory. There's a lot of ways that you can put some structure to your partnerships into, when you squat up. It's not for everyone, but I've had experience in it, and it doesn't always have to go bad if you choose the right people and put the right things in place. So just a little tidbit there for those who are looking to purchase property internationally. You don't have to do it on your own. You can partner up with someone.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Y'all can value this conversation. Do me a favor, drop something down, drop an emoji down, drop a comment. If this is intriguing you, you're thinking about investing internationally in real estate, let us know about that too. I already got bit by the bug, and I'm already thinking about like what I should do, I should do a deal and so forth. Because, like you said, I think it's a trade-off, with that. The way they do it without having to really be going together with financing, it's great because once it's done, you don't owe anything. You can cash flow it. You don't have to worry about a mortgage. At the same time, that is a lot of cash out of pocket, depending on the situation. But I think the good outweighs the bad. So I definitely, like how that's structured. I would love to be an international investor very soon. So I definitely want to congratulate you. When I saw your post, I definitely liked it. It gave you a big congratulations.
Thank you.
A little bit, like not even 2 years out of the divorce, where I chose to leave almost all that was due to me, sitting in a debt-free vacation home in Puerto Rico, signing a contract to buy a condo in VR, also debt-free. So you said 3 properties less than 3 years, and I'm already IRA 40. Listen, I love that. That definitely inspired me. You know what I mean? So I definitely just want to publicly congratulate you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. It's been a really hard last 3 years for me. Like the pandemic stuff, that was like one level, but that was like when my life fell apart at the same time. So to be able to come out of that and be able to celebrate these small wins, I've been operating as a single mom for all this time, and this is very new to me. Like inspire others and let people know, like, you don't have to, you don't have to be like have millions of dollars. You don't have to be, whatever people think you need to do. Like I said, recently divorced, left everything. It would be different if I could tell you, like, I'm getting alimony, all this child support, the pension, 401k, and I didn't. That wasn't part of my story. So yeah, I just giving praises to the Lord, and yeah, a lot of people have been rooting for me. I have a lot of people in my corner, so it means a lot when people show up and say, "Wow, I see you. Congratulations." I really appreciate that.
Yep. Oh my God, Corey said, "Way to persevere."
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about something that we do talk about, me and you offline. The importance of real estate, whether an agent or someone in real estate in general, using digital marketing as part of the strategy. So it's something that we definitely connected on and see eye to eye on. And for those that are real estate agents, if you're looking to get clients in real estate or even people to buy the investment properties or whatever, can you talk about, number one, do you recommend people use digital marketing strategies? And if so, why do you think a lot of people are kind of hesitant? And, we noticed in real estate that, I don't know, it seems like folks aren't as prone to like start doing this stuff, but I personally definitely think they should.
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna reprise our conversation that we had. You know, for those who are agents or just in real estate, maybe you have some type of, maybe you're not an agent, but you're an investor, but you have an investing method or strategy, whatever you fall under, you have something you're trying to promote, whether it's a book or a workshop. I see a lot of people make the mistake of they continually create, but they don't promote. And that is like, I think the trick of social media is that it makes us think like if you just post and they will come. Well, that's part of it. Maybe in the in the 1980s of Facebook, I know they were not around in the 80s, but I'm just saying like in the ground floor maybe, but we're literally like in a you got to pay to play environment. So I would encourage anyone who is trying to promote something, whether it's a single property, an investing strategy, whether you're an agent, use how do I want to say this? The marketing is so targeted. Back in the day, you might buy some type of like radio ad and you're just like, throwing darts to the wall, you don't know. But now you can literally get so granular in your targeting that you can reach people very effectively at low cost. The problem is when you get into higher ticket items like a condo, like a $600,000 house, your lead costs go up. So what I see people make the mistake of doing is they think they're going to throw $500 to a Facebook ad slash Instagram ad for a month, and then when it doesn't work, oh, I knew this doesn't work. I would suggest, if anyone's thinking about this, obviously get with Ryan, but even if you don't believe him, I vouch for him. Go check on YouTube and look for other agents who have testimonials of, I used digital marketing to increase my revenue and my commissions. And it's how do you say it? It's like, it's marketing agency agnostic, right? So it doesn't, I would say use Ryan because of course he's here and he knows his stuff, but you'll find different testimonials from different people who use, maybe they did it themselves, but the point is that they started and they stayed consistent. And so I actually have started, exploring some marketing, paying for ads, and I think it's very realistic to expect to spend, like, if you have a commission that you think is going to be $10,000, expect to spend $2,500 in advertising, right? And at least, and your targeting will get more efficient the longer you stay in the game. But if you can have a long-term outlook, I was telling Ryan the other day that I came from a broker who, she already said, I'm doing $50,000 in marketing this year. Like, that wasn't even a question. And it's not like, oh, we're waiting to see if it's going to work, or no, it's just like, I'm dropping $50K and we know the results are going to come in. So not to say you have to drop $50K, but have that attitude, have that carved out, because if you think you're going to do, real estate like in the 80s, you have your Rolodex and your little black book, and you can, and some people are prospering off of those methods, but things are accelerating and getting more competitive, and the agents and the investors that are winning are using social media, not just organically, but paid advertising. So I really encourage those who are in the space to explore it and think about it like, as a farmer, wouldn't have a field and be like, why am I don't have any corn, like, what's going on? Well, did you plant any seeds? No. So it doesn't work like that. So to think of your marketing budget as the seeds that you need to plant to bring people in. I will say for selling condos and things in the Dominican, my strategy right away was like, I'm going straight to paid advertising. And surprisingly, I've had a lot of people call, email, and inquire reach, which that was totally unexpected. But even with that, I'm not just going to depend on that. I am getting ready to, I'm getting my creatives ready, and I'm going to start running my Instagram ads, because that's where you're going to find your buyers, and you can target it down to the language, the location. I mean, real estate has a little bit of nuances because it's a special category, so you can't target it like you did in the past. However, the algorithm is still smart enough where it'll figure things out for you. So you can't be like, I want to reach Black people for these, these condos in Philly or whatever. You can't do that anymore like you used to be able to do. But again, the algorithm figures it out for you, and it gets more efficient. And I think it's something that everyone should jump on. You should talk to Ryan because he knows his stuff. He can get you started, with your ads, with your funnels. He can do all that. It's the difference between the people that are really excelling in real estate or just even in business. You have to have that marketing budget, and you have to invest in that. It's an investment in your business.
Yeah, definitely. And I tell all the real estate folks, that I talk with or work with, I'm like, y'all got the opportunity because that lane is open. Like, it's still not a lot of people in real estate running paid ads and doing digital marketing. So the opportunity's there, specifically with Facebook ads, supply and demand. So if there's not as many people advertising and putting money in the marketplace, that's just more eyeballs for you to capture. So listen, if I was a real estate agent or if I was like in real estate, y'all get tired of me because I'll be running and I'll be on so many people's timelines. Also, generally, the real estate is like geo-targeted, location-based. So we all know generally you don't have to spend as much. It's generally not as expensive if you're targeting a certain local market within a certain vicinity as opposed to like targeting the entire country. You know what I'm saying? So that's another opportunity that people have. And like I said, people just are not taking advantage of it like they should. And then also, what we talked about before, is marrying like an info product business with your real estate stuff, meaning write a book, do a course, do a workshop, do an information session, do a live event, like whatever it is, in addition to your actual real estate business, selling homes or buying or whatever it is, you know, getting your commission. I think that is amazing to put other resources out there that you can monetize as well.
Yeah, I've seen people do that, and I think it's a really smart strategy where you're licensed and you have some type of niche. You know, maybe you have a seminar about like how to buy, what do you call them, like the trailer park, and then that's not the politically correct term, but like the mobile home parks.
Yeah, trailer park.
Or
They trailer park to me, but
yeah,
I'm like,
right. So I'm trying to be politically correct. Or people have different niches in real estate, right? So people specialize in how to invest in low cost of living areas, how to do land flipping, how to, you know, just do all that stuff. I think I tagged you in a post from Mark. His account is Living Rent Free. He tells people about multifamily, and I love the way that he has his info product. But he's also an agent too. So I've seen people do this really well, and I think it can be helpful. And I think it's good for people to do while the cost of leads are still pretty low for real estate because, like Ryan said, not a lot of people are on it yet.
right. So make sure y'all take advantage. Like, listen, like you said, you don't gotta listen to me. Just do your research, see what's out there. If you don't want to work with the phone doctor or whoever, the main thing is to put it out there because it's telling you you'll get results. So yeah, I definitely appreciate this conversation. You got tons of gems for the usual. So if you got any other last words, any other last tips, or any other real estate gems you want to drop on folks. And thanks for sharing that video with me about when you talk about refinancing and everything like that, because I still get confused on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate that. Any other gems you got for the people, feel free to drop.
Yeah, so I just thank you for everybody for coming on. I apologize. You know, I'm talking about international real estate. I am in Puerto Rico and my Wi-Fi is jacked up, so I'm giving you the real of what happens like when you when you go and try to like set up shop in another like non-US location. So I apologize for that, but thank you all for coming out. You can check me out on my page, Principles of Increase, where I talk about a lot of real estate related stuff, life stuff, because I am in a different stage of my life with like teenagers, recently divorced, to salsa dance. You know, so I just talk about stuff, you know, regarding my life. And then also I am talking about international real estate because I'm kind of on that journey too. I'm looking to make some international moves. So I like to update people about this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm working on. Of course, I share the highlights, also share some of the lowlights. Like I was renting a car here and I had a Jeep that I was renting out for, you know, like a Turo type thing, and it got smashed up. So I had to tell people like, wow, this is actually a bad idea. So I'm going to take you on my journeys. I think the stuff that I do is a good idea. So what I recommend to you, I also try. So, you know, I'll be like the crash dummy or whatever. So yeah, Principles of Increase is my handle, and check me out there and feel free to DM or connect with me.
Okay, great. And then lastly, don't you have a new book that's going to come out soon?
Okay. Yes. So I'm working on a book called Real Estate by Faith, Unlocking the Secrets of Supernatural Real Estate Acquisition, something like that, along those lines. If you go to my page, you'll see it, because I've played around with so many different titles, but it's basically Real Estate by Faith, because I realize that a lot of stuff that I've been able to do in real estate really has been supernatural and miraculous. That's really the only way I could. Some of y'all are smart. Y'all don't need Jesus. I need Jesus. I need God. I need divine direction because of some unique just situations and circumstances that I've had in my life. So I really depend heavily on prayer, on faith to accomplish some of the things that I've accomplished. I can't brag on me. I really put it all the stock into my relationship with God, and it's helped me accomplish a lot of great things. So I want to share that relationship with people and show them like how to hear from God on the big decisions, the small decisions, and definitely on how to like do your real estate business. So, oh yeah, when is it coming out? In the next couple of months.
Just keep about to say, when is that drop? We need a date. We need a date. We need a date.
It'll be soon. It'll be soon. I should have only announced it when it was ready, but I felt like I needed a push because I kept saying for so long. So now it's out here, and I have to do it. I'm not too far from being finished, though.
All right. Yeah, definitely going to need help with that book model. You know, we definitely can build that out for you, of course. So we can talk about that. Dr. Vanessa said, amen, Team Jesus. So yeah, again, I just appreciate you so much for this coming on. Dropping so many gems. Like, you pushing me closer and closer to like doing a real estate deal eventually. So when I'm ready, of course, I'm going to let you know. But yeah, anything else you need from me, let me know. But we definitely got to talk more offline. But yeah, just appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy, got kids and family and everything. So just appreciate your time for coming on.
For sure. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Ryan.
Well,
have a good night.